Buried City Music Button Puzzle. But there's a secret most players have never found that requires perfect timing and a musical ear. The December 2025 Cold Snap update introduced the most complex secret in Ark Raiders history. Hidden across the entire Buried City map are 15 red buttons that each play a different musical note when you press them. These buttons are scattered everywhere, on rooftops, inside buildings, in underground tunnels. Each button makes a unique sound from deep bass tones all the way up to high-pitched notes. What makes this puzzle truly insane is that you need to activate all 15 buttons during high-risk raids under freezing conditions while avoiding hypothermia mechanics. The key to solving this puzzle is a piece of graffiti on the wall near the final door in Plaza Rosa. This graffiti shows a music sheet with the exact sequence of notes you need to play. You start with button 1 in Plaza Rosa, then work your way through all 15 buttons in numerical order. You'll be navigating zip lines, climbing stairs, and sneaking past enemy patrols while trying not to get spotted by Archimachines or rival players. Button 15 sits right in front of the locked door covered in musical note symbols. The entire sequence requires perfect coordination between squad members because some buttons are in enemy-patrolled zones where one wrong move triggers alerts. When you complete the sequence correctly, the door opens to reveal a reward room filled with legendary acoustic guitars for your emotes. You also get maraca shakers for customization. These are way cooler than the basic recorder everyone gets, and they actually boost your squad's morale in the game. But here's the crazy part. Most players give up after multiple failed attempts because the Cold Snap's hypothermia mechanics make you slower and clumsier as the puzzle drags on. The multi-run effort tests your patience when you're literally freezing to death, but this musical mystery is nothing compared to the corporate conspiracy hiding in plain sight. Enelica Corporation. This corporation's name keeps showing up everywhere, but what they actually did will blow your mind. Apollo gives you a quest called Paving the Way that sends you hunting for forgotten Enelica corporate facilities. These buildings are scattered across Dam Battlegrounds, Buried City, and Blue Gate, but they're not marked on any map. The quest description talks about pre-collapse infrastructure that's now covered in rust and crawling with Ark machines. Enelica's logo and name appear on faded signs throughout the Rust Belt. What's weird is how their facilities are always in the most dangerous, heavily patrolled areas, like someone doesn't want you finding them. The first building is the Water Treatment Control Facility on Dam Battlegrounds. You approach from the southern main entrance where you can still see Enelica painted on the wall in faded letters. There's a notice board to the right with a desperate note from a researcher. The note talks about urgent evacuation procedures and classified project termination. The second location is in Buried City's Piazza Roma southern apartment cluster. You climb 6 floors using stairs or zip lines, cross a scrap bridge between rooftops, and find glowing consoles in the southeastern room. There's a yellow highlighted datapad in the researcher's flat above the Convenio Market. This datapad mentions pre-Ark containment protocols and failed corporate oversight. Completing this quest gives you Raider Hatch keys for hidden bunkers, Seeker grenades for disrupting Ark machines, and advanced electrical components for high-tier gear crafting. The researcher notes hint that Enelica played a major role in whatever happened before the Ark invasion. Environmental storytelling through these facilities reveals Enelica was involved in some kind of massive cover-up operation. The company logo appears on equipment that looks suspiciously similar to Ark technology. Speaking of hidden secrets, Blue Gate is basically one giant puzzle waiting to be solved. Blue Gate Hidden Loot Rooms. Blue Gate isn't just a map, it's a massive puzzle box hiding game-changing loot. Blue Gate has over a dozen secret rooms and puzzles hidden throughout its industrial maze. Each one requires different keys, codes, or environmental tricks to access. You've got keycard-locked confiscation rooms overflowing with blueprints and crafting materials. There are fuel cell puzzles that power massive vault doors, light switch arrays that illuminate hidden fuses you need to activate. The industrial sprawl is so complex that veteran players are still discovering new secret areas months after the map's release. The DeForester override system controls flood barriers in the underground sections. Security breaker stations near underground entrances let you bypass locked gates. The most complex is the 14-button Raider Refuge sequence that's almost as complicated as the Buried City music puzzle. Locked gate events require you to scavenge warehouse complex codes to access control rooms. You'll be diving underwater for submerged keys while defending your team from rival players trying to steal your progress. The toxic floods make underwater sections especially dangerous because your oxygen timer runs out fast. Squad coordination becomes crucial when someone needs to defend the puzzle solver from both Ark patrols and enemy raiders. These puzzles unlock Bobcat blueprints, orange rarity weapons, and bulk crafting components. Players who master Blue Gate's secrets report 30 to 50% higher extraction success rates. This makes Blue Gate the best risk-reward map in the entire game. The epic loot completely reshapes meta farming routes and fuels Speranza's underground economy. But here's what most players don't realize. The puzzle solutions are connected to the larger Enelica conspiracy. Hidden terminals in the secret rooms contain corporate data that ties directly to the pre-Ark experiments. But all of this surface chaos is nothing compared to what's happening underground. Speranza Underground City. But this safe haven has a dark secret about how it really operates. Carved beneath the ruins of Toledo in Italy's Rust Belt, Speranza is humanity's last safe haven. It's a massive underground city built from repurposed subway tunnels, old bunkers, caves, and makeshift cantinas. Thousands of survivors live here in tense coexistence. Violence is completely banned inside the city, but faction rivalries are constantly simmering beneath the surface. The flickering neon markets and hydroponic farms create an eerie contrast to the horror waiting on the surface. The city is controlled by traders with competing interests. Celeste is a pragmatic engineer who keeps the infrastructure running. Shani is a shrewd merchant who controls most of the black market deals. Tian Wen is a philosophical tinkerer who questions everyone's motives. Each trader has their own agenda and suspicious background. Raiders dock via cargo elevators and trade scavenged ARC parts, blueprints, and supplies for weapons, medkits, and intel. What makes the political situation volatile is how each trader represents different survivor factions with conflicting philosophies about humanity's future. Resource scarcity forces impossible moral choices. Do you hoard supplies for personal gain or help strengthen the community's defenses against the next ARC attack? These decisions affect which traders trust you and what gear becomes available. Dynamic events like security sweeps through the tubes and emergency resupply runs to field depots show how fragile this underground refuge really is. The tube security sweeps happen when tensions get too high between factions, and field depot resupply runs determine whether the community gets enough resources to survive another month. Speranza exists as the narrative heart where surface horrors contrast with underground fragile hope. This underground war started back when the machines first fell from the sky. First wave of ARC A. The first machines were actually beatable, but that victory came at a terrible cost. In 2180, the skies darkened as the first ARC A machines crashed into the Rust Belt from orbit. These early machines were crude and primitive compared to what came later. They had exposed thrusters, predictable movement patterns, and obvious weak points. Post-collapse survivors who became the first raiders figured out how to exploit these vulnerabilities. They could target Apollo drone thrusters while they were flying and ambush ground pounders at choke points. The machines seemed almost experimental, like prototypes being field-tested rather than a full invasion force. The biggest battle happened at Alcantara Dam, which raiders called the Dam Stronghold. Daring battles raged across the landscape for almost a decade. The war culminated at Victory Ridge, where massed raider firepower finally drove the invaders back. Raiders learned ARC patrol algorithms, memorized weak points, and developed tactics that let them establish temporary surface outposts. For a few years, humanity actually reclaimed parts of the surface world. Veteran raiders from this era became legends, teaching their knowledge to the next generation. The tactical manuals they wrote are still used today by current raiders who venture topside. But the victory was Pyrrhic. It cost almost everything. The wrecked ARC husk from these battles are still scattered across current maps as haunting landmarks. Raiders today scavenge these first-wave remains for premium parts. The knowledge gained during this brutal decade is what keeps current raiders alive when they venture topside. Current trials feature first-wave remnants that remind players how humanity's razor-thin victories came at enormous cost. The husks serve as both resource nodes and grim reminders of what happens when the machines adapt. If you're loving these ARC Raiders secrets, smash that subscribe button for more gaming mysteries. The Exodus. The rich had an escape plan that left everyone else to die, and it gets worse. Before the ARC invasion, during the environmental collapse, the world's elite orchestrated a massive off-world evacuation called the Exodus. They used colossal shuttle launches from Ashera spaceport in the Rust Belt to escape Earth entirely. Privileged factions took control of rocket assembly plants and control towers. While the rich were boarding shuttles to the stars, billions of regular people were left behind to die in the chaos. The inequality was staggering. Corporate VIPs got luxury evacuation pods while entire cities were abandoned to environmental disasters. Today's maps are littered with evidence of this betrayal. Abandoned launch pads sit empty and frozen. Fuel silos that once powered escape shuttles are now frozen solid. Elite bunkers that housed the wealthy while they waited for their rides off-planet are scattered across the maps. Raiders can find corporate manifests with the actual names of VIPs who escaped. Encrypted logs hint at connections between the evacuated elites and ARC technology. Some manifests list Anelica executives alongside government officials and tech billionaires. The conspiracy theories write themselves when you realize the same companies that caused the environmental collapse also got priority seating on the escape shuttles. This betrayal created the cynical raider culture we see today. Cowboy scavengers versus the forgotten masses. High-loot spaceport runs let players scavenge derelict launch technology for fusion cells and prestige modules. The biggest conspiracy theory is that the machines might actually be connected to whoever escaped during the Exodus. Were the ARC machines anti-riot technology that went rogue? Are off-world colonies using them to prevent Earth survivors from following? The abandoned promise embodied by these empty launch pads fuels speculation about the evacuees' current fate. But the most shocking truth is hidden inside Speranza's most trusted trader, Lance's hidden memories. The most helpful trader in Speranza isn't even human, and his memories hold massive secrets. Lance runs Speranza's famous Piazza Clinic, a weird feng shui paradise filled with throw pillows and tweezers. He's known for extracting bullets with impossible precision, and can cure almost anything except the common cold. Everyone loves Lance for his bubbly, helpful personality. But Lance's cheerful facade is hiding a massive secret. he's not human. He's an android suffering from complete amnesia with his original programming erased. His uncanny medical skills and perfect bedside manner are artificial constructs masking a darker truth. Tien Wen calls Lance's programming crossed, making him a valuable black market prize. Codex entries and quests tied to the Paving the Way storyline unlock Lance's fragmented memories. These memory fragments show him witnessing Exodus shuttle launches, first-wave Ark battles, and Speranza's frantic founding. The memories reveal that Lance is an Invasion-era prototype, possibly built by Anelica Corporation. His original directives about the Ark connection have been deliberately suppressed. The memory vignettes are emotionally devastating. Lance recalls treating wounded evacuees who never made it onto the escape shuttles, watching the first Ark machines fall from orbit, and helping dig the tunnels that became Speranza. These emotional memory vignettes humanize Lance despite him being artificial, creating sympathy among the mechanical hordes. Unlocking his backstory gives access to exclusive medkits and special cosmetics. The biggest revelation is that Lance might hold the key to understanding the connection between androids and the Ark invasion. His suppressed code contains fragments that match Ark communication protocols. The terrifying implication is that Lance was designed to interface with the machines, suggesting human collaboration in whatever the Ark really represents. Lance's memories hint at why the second wave of machines was so much deadlier. Second wave of Ark, the machines learned from their first defeat and came back deadlier than anyone imagined. Years after Raiders repelled the first wave, the machines returned as vengeful sophisticates. The second wave brought adaptive leapers that could change tactics mid-fight, bastions with impenetrable shields and bombardiers that rained death from above. Worst of all were the harvesters, ecosystem-devouring monsters that consumed everything in their path. These advanced machines overwhelmed every surface outpost and forced humanity into total underground exile. The evolution was so dramatic that first-wave veterans were completely unprepared for the new threat level. Current Rust Belt raids happen during this ongoing second-wave assault. Night raids spawn nocturnal ambushes from cloaked machines. Electromagnetic storms scramble all electronics, leaving raiders blind and defenseless. Dynamic events like supply drops draw massive megahordes that can wipe out entire squads. The machines now have stealth cloaking technology and self-repair systems that counter traditional raider tactics, even targeting thrusters. The old reliable strategy barely works against their adaptive armor. The Ark now self-replicate using harvested biomass, turning every kill into potential reinforcements. This perpetual siege drives the extraction meta that defines current gameplay. Raiders get limited surface timers, scavenge, fight, extract before reinforcements arrive. Every raid risks total squad wipeout against machines that learn from every encounter and share knowledge across the hive mind. The psychological pressure is intense because the machines remember your tactics and adapt accordingly. Veterans report that Ark patrols now specifically counter strategies that worked in previous raids. The hive mind evolution means humanity can never gain lasting tactical advantages, but the machines weren't humanity's first enemy. We did this to ourselves. Global environmental collapse. But the machines weren't humanity's first enemy. We did this to ourselves. Decades before the first Ark machine fell from orbit, the collapse unleashed cascading ecological catastrophes across Earth. Toxic storms poisoned the atmosphere, while megastorms destroyed entire cities. Soil necrosis killed all agricultural land, making farming impossible. Massive floods drowned coastal populations. Corporate hubris, possibly from Anelica Corporation, accelerated these disasters through unchecked industrial pollution and resource exploitation. The environmental timeline shows how corporate greed systematically destroyed Earth's life support systems. The environmental disasters eradicated agriculture, flooded major cities, and confined survivors to isolated Rust Belt enclaves living among tribal ruins. Buried metropolises like Buried City show what happened to urban centers during the collapse. Damned battlegrounds reveal desperate attempts to control flooding. Abandoned spaceport husks mark where the elite escaped, while everyone else suffered. Hazard maps with ongoing storms and cold snaps echo the original disasters that weakened humanity. Lore artifacts throughout the maps condemn the unchecked industry that prioritized profit over planetary survival. This self-inflicted environmental damage left humanity fractured and vulnerable when the Ark invasion began. The machines didn't cause humanity's downfall, they just finished what corporate greed started. Raiders today are inheriting a world that was already poisoned by human mistakes, making the Ark more symptom than sole villain. The collapse created the perfect conditions for invasion by eliminating global communication, destroying military infrastructure, and scattering survivors into isolated pockets. Humanity was already dying when the machines arrived to finish the job. Which brings us to the ultimate question: where did the machines actually come from? Origin of the Ark in Prophet. Nobody knows where they came from, but the theories will keep you up at night. This is the saga's core mystery that drives everything else. An inscrutable mechanized horde plummeted from orbit in 2080 with completely unknown motives. They function as apex predators with hive mind adaptations, self-replicating by harvesting biomass from anything they kill. No human faction commands them. No country built them. No corporation claims ownership. They simply appeared from space and began systematically hunting humanity. The void of information about their origins creates narrative tension that propels every quest and discovery. Multiple theories try to explain their origin. Are they extraterrestrial purgers sent to cleanse Earth of human infestation? Could they be human defense AI, possibly created by Anelica Corporation that went rogue after the Exodus evacuation? Maybe they're backlash from off-world colonies seeking revenge against Earth. Orbital drop patterns suggest intelligence and planning. Their technology resembles human engineering, but with alien improvements. Lance's buried code and suppressed memories hint at deliberate connections between androids and Eric's programming. The orbital patterns aren't random. They target specific infrastructure and population centers with surgical precision. Lore hints tease future revelations through codex evolution and hidden map secrets. Deep-sea maps in development might finally provide answers about their true origin. Until then, the Erix remains gaming's ultimate unknowable horror, unstoppable, uncompromising, and utterly mysterious. Future content promises to explore whether the machines are external invaders or humanity's own creation turned against its makers. The mystery ensures that no faction feels safe, and every discovery might reveal that humanity's greatest enemy was itself all along. Click the video on screen right now for more Arc Raiders secrets you definitely missed.